How does sunscreen work? By Raj Patel
and William Coster.
Table of contents. During this presentation, we will go over what physical sunscreen is, what chemical sunscreen is, what SPF is, and the summary of the experiment we conducted. Physical sunscreen. What does physical sunscreen do? Long story short, physical sunscreen blocks UV light. It can be seen as a white, thicker type of sunscreen that sits on the surface of your skin, reflecting the UV lights away and off of the skin. One easy way to think about it is that physical blocking sunscreen is like a shield or a mirror to UV rays. They provide broad spectrum protection, meaning that they protect against both UVA and UVB rays. UVA rays penetrate deep into the skin and can contribute to premature aging, while UVB rays can cause sunburn. What are the active ingredients in physical sunscreen? The two active ingredients are zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. These two are minerals that were ground into fine particles sitting on the skin and reflecting the UV rays off of it. In some formulations, physical sunscreen ingredients are combined with antioxidants or other skin beneficial ingredients to enhance protection and skincare benefits. Physical blocking sunscreens. Physical blocking sunscreens usually say mineral sunscreens on it. If there's uncertainty about physical or chemical, check the active ingredients to find something that has zinc oxide and or titanium dioxide.
Chemical sunscreen. What does chemical sunscreen do? Long story short, chemical sunscreen absorbs UV light. It creates a thin layer above the epidermis, which is the outer layer of skin, that absorbs the UV sunlight. They primarily protect against UVB rays, but many formulations also include ingredients like avobenzone to offer UVA protection. This makes them broad spectrum, capable of protecting the skin from both UVB and UVA rays. Unlike physical sunscreens that reflect UV rays, chemical sunscreens absorb UV rays and transform the energy into non-damaging heat, which is then dissipated from the skin. What are the active ingredients in chemical absorbing sunscreens? Well, there are 4 active ingredients in chemical absorbing sunscreens. They are avobenzone, octisalate, homosalate, and octocrylene. All of these contain carbon in them, which will be useful for the next slide. Avobenzone absorbs UVA rays, while octisalate and homosalate absorb UVB rays, enhancing the sunscreen's overall SPF. Chemical absorbing sunscreens. They're formed from the combination of organic chemicals that contain carbon. The previous molecules were the organic chemicals that contain carbon. If there's any uncertainty about physical versus chemical sunscreen, check the active ingredients to find something that has some of the 4 active ingredients that were shown before.
SPF value. What is SPF? SPF is the sun protection factor in sunscreen. SPF only indicates the protection factor against UVB because that is what it's tested on. What is SPF? What SPF is the most protective? The higher, the better. Although after SPF 30, there are no major differences. As you can see in these 2 photos, SPF 30 protects against 97% of UV, SPF 50 protects against 98% of UV, and SPF 100 protects against 99% of UV. And as you can see in the photo to the left, there's not really a major difference from SPF 30 and on.
Experiment summary. Our specific question was what type of sunscreen is more effective, physical blocking or chemical absorbing? What was the experiment like? To start, 20 glass microscope slides over UVA and UVB sensors were placed, 10 slides per each type of sunscreen, and they were tested to see which set protected better. Throughout the experiment, the 2 subjects went into Piper Hall and conducted the experiment by placing 20 glass microscope slides, each individually tested with a UVA or UVB sensor, as shown below.
What were the results? Ultimately, our experiment concluded that there really was no difference between the two types of sunscreen, and we confirmed that through the t-tests. The t-tests are not below 0.05, meaning that we cannot conclude a difference between the two groups.